Hi, everyone. Today is July 25th. It is the one day at a time. And there's a one day at a time, there's a 5 day at a time, there's a Lion's Gate, and they're all around right now. And they are all connected to Sirius. So I wanted to talk about Sirius, um, what Sirius is and what it does, and to talk a little bit more about these liminal spaces. So the one day at a time, which is today, July 25th, it's a New Age conception. It was brought about by, I'm just looking up his name, Jose Arrugalas. He created the dream spell calendar, and it uses a Mayan conception of things, but it is New Age. So what he's done is he said, okay, um, there are 28 days in a month. Those 28 days, by the way, are a sidereal day. We don't usually use 28 days for our month. We use 29, and I'm going to talk about the difference between those in a minute. But he takes 28 days, he multiplies it by 13 months in a year, and he comes up with 364 days. Now we have 365 days in a year based on the sun. So this is a liminal space between the sun and the moon. This is a sidereal lunar month because sidereally it's 27 point something days for the moon to make a full round and come back to the same star. And he's using the star Sirius rising. And so based on that, again, 28 days times 13 makes 364. One day is the liminal space between the time that the sun returns. So this is like any liminal space, a time for reflection and a time for honoring ourselves and just stopping to catch our breath, basically. So then, and that, so like I said, that's a New Age conception, but there are two ancient conceptions of time in the Mayan calendar and the Egyptian calendar, which are the 5 days at a time. So in the Mayan calendar, it's called the Hab, Haab. And this is based on 18 months of 20 days, and that equals 360. So 360, as you know, is a circle. But our year goes 5 point something days beyond the circle. And so both the Mayan calendar and the Egyptian calendar have these 5 extra days. In the Mayan calendar, it's called the Uab. And the Uab is a time that's considered to be a time where you're refraining from doing things. It's a time to be cautious and to honor things and just to slow down and it's a liminal kind of space that is a bit dangerous. So that's the Mayan conception. The Egyptian conception, Egyptians used a 30-day month, and then those 30 days equaled to 360. Now their 30 days is based on a month of the moon where the moon is making a synodic cycle with the sun. So that's 29 days point something, 29 point something, and they round it up to 30 days. So it is still based on the moon and the sun, but rounded up to 30 days. And then there's these 5 days that are extra. And those 5 days are liminal days as well that they honor. They make offerings to Sekhmet during this time. They have these many different traditions. And this is something that has been really connected by Matthias de Stefano to the 5 days at a time to Atlantis. And I do think both the Mayan and the Egyptian calendars and the 5 days at a time are Atlantean. I use in my article in the video, I'll post that video here, that I talk about the Tychos model to explain those 5 days because there's real geometry that happens to explain them. And though the Tychos is, it's based on the Tychonic model of Tycho Brahe, who wrote that in the 1500s, but it's completed by Simon Schach now in the last 10 years. But I believe it is something that goes back much further. It was something that we knew, and knowledge was lost. And so that is something that I think many people have come to the conclusion that we had knowledge that was lost. Because many of the things in the Egyptian and Mayan culture are explained by the Tychos, and they help to explain the Tychos as well. So, so those are the 5-day liminal spaces. In the Egyptian calendar, the beginning of the year, those last 5 days were the last 5 days before Sirius rose again. Then we get to the Lion's Gate. And this gets us into talking a little bit more about Sirius, because Sirius rose heliacally. Heliacally rising means that it rises just before the sun. We see this bright star, and then the sun comes up and we no longer see it. But prior to that, it's just been hidden behind the sun. In the underworld, they would say. And this period of time, this Sirius rising time would have happened in July. The records have shown July 19th, and then July 22nd. I think it was in July 22nd from Thebes, and then later on, as precession of the equinoxes has shifted everything, and the stars appear to move against the backdrop. So these days, Sirius rises, depending on where you are in the world, on a different day. From Egypt, it rises around August 5th. And so when you're talking about Matthias de Stefano and in his conception of things, I believe the first day at a time is August 1st, and the last is August 5th, and then Sirius rises. And this is within the Lion's Gate portal. Where you are depends on when Sirius shows up. And if you're at the South Pole, if you are in Antarctica, and not many of us, we're not allowed to go there, but above 73 degrees of latitude, Sirius never goes down. It's circumpolar. And if you are north, you never see it. So let's say 73 degrees above, north of 73, you don't see Sirius. It doesn't rise high enough for you to see it. So if you're north, you're not going to see Sirius rise until somewhere into late September. And the closer you are to the equator, to the south, you're going to see it rise earlier and earlier and earlier and earlier. So that is why in August, around August 5th, you will see it rise in Cairo, Egypt. At around somewhere in September, you'll see it rise in, let's say, New York, and so on. So those are shifting times. So, we can say, okay, we'll honor it these particular days. But if you are going outside and looking at the sky and connecting with the stars, you might want to think about shifting those days, those portal days, to the days where you will actually experience that happening in your location. So that's what I wanted to say about Sirius, the portals that are happening. Today's liminal day at a time. Sirius does not rise anywhere today. It is a theoretical conception of it at this point. If you want to know when Sirius rises, you can go to, in your location, you can go to Solarium, and you can look for the little star that says Sirius, put it on the horizon, and watch the day that it goes above the horizon, far enough from the sun to be able to view it. So that's the best way I can tell you to be able to do that. And there's some other sites where you can put in your actual location and it will tell you. But I actually think that Stellarium is the best way to figure it out. All right, have a great day.